All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned in to All About the Authors. This is the bi-monthly authors chat roundtable series that's done every second and fourth Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the author, Andrew Snorton. I usually co-host this with fellow author, celebrity plug, Faya Tyresatai. She's working on assignment right now, so she'll be with us for our next edition, which will be 2 weeks from now. And one of our scheduled authors, Chef Diana Riley, also got called in for another project, so she will be joining us next time. So I'm still excited that I have a friend of mine, someone that I've met, passionate, powerful author, Moise Michel. But before we get into him, just a couple of quick notes and a real quick shameless plug, but the focus is really on our guest author. Remember, every second and fourth Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do this on Zoom. You can make sure to connect with me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, author, A-U-T-H-O-R, author Andrew Snorton, as well as Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, author A Snorton, and email me at authorsnorton@gmail.com. And we want to make sure that we're bringing in some great people doing great things. So for those of you that are already plugged in, make sure to put your question in the group chat. And again, if you're aware of other authors that you know, hey, more people need to be aware of, this is why we do this series twice a month. Now, as for me, and I'm going to go ahead and step away after just a moment, real quickly for me, for you or someone you know who's a lover of poetry, Deeper Than Your Deepest Sleep, Thoughts on Love with Joseph Snorton, is for the poetry lovers, as it's a look at love through broader lenses, ranging from family, community, people past and present. What we've done a little bit differently from other poetry books is, since it's based on conversation with family, the beginning of each chapter is a portion of the actual conversation. So especially if you're looking for something for Father's Day, there is a chapter that taps into the relationship someone has with their father or a father figure. So that can be a fit for you. On the other end of the spectrum is Nine Stories of Faith, Volume 1, which is definitely for you or someone you know who enjoys stories of encouragement and empowerment. People not only through the lens of their faith, best practices with health and wellness, how they incorporate their support networks, and how they've pivoted their way of thinking, are at a point where they live lives of power and purpose, but they focus on, even though they live with something every day, it's something they live with versus something that defines them or something that controls them. So if you're someone you know can identify living with a physical health challenge, mental health challenge, life after incarceration, things along those lines, and seeing how people have the mindset and focus that this is something I happen to live with, which means they keep it in perspective versus I have it and it has dominion, then this is definitely a fit for you. And then finally, the audiobook series. I'm going to put the card up here so you can see it real close. The Author's Mixtapes is the audiobook series, volumes 1 and 2. It basically borrows from the freestyle that you see in hip hop, where basically all the writing was done within individual studio sessions. So the first volume is a 7-chapter piece. The second volume is an 8-chapter piece, and everything again was written, created, done in studio. So shouts to Third Level Entertainment and Canis Major Digital for their help on that. And we'll probably be back in the studio real soon. So I'll kind of recap my stuff, but at this point in time, I want to make sure to introduce again a very talented, very brilliant, just authentic and real person, Moise Michel. Moise, how you doing this afternoon?
Hey, what's going on, King? How you doing today?
Hey, I'm feeling great, feeling great. And you've got a great body of work that you've already done, and I know you've got some great projects coming up. Could you give everybody a little bit of a background, where you're from, and when did you pivot into taking your writing talents to the next level?
Oh, not a problem at all. First and foremost, peace, love, and light to everybody who's on the check-in on this wonderful interview. But first and foremost, I am Moise Michel. I currently just turned 40 this past Tuesday. I was born in Haiti, grew up in Brooklyn, New York. With the Haitian culture, I can say that coming to America was a kind of different experience, especially as a young child. And you know, I've been through hell and back, so to speak, growing up in Brooklyn, and I learned a lot of things. I did a lot of things that I'm not too proud of, but it was one instance where I found the creativity to write. Was I was unfortunately incarcerated, and there was a specific day. It was actually on my I think my 28th birthday. My mom brought my daughter to come see me, and I remember seeing my daughter through a glass, and she was saying, "Daddy, Daddy." And I remember from that night in my cell, I started to write the very first chapter of my very first book, A Diamond in the Rough, Trials and Tribulations of a Southern Belle. When I wrote that first chapter, I wasn't too sure. I'm like, I don't think I could continue with this. So what happened that morning, the morning after, there was an elder gentleman in the same block as me. I brought him the very first chapter. He read it. And from that day on, he was my accountability partner. So every night I didn't write a chapter, he told me I owed him 2. So I would have to write 2 chapters. Mm-hmm. So he kept me into a flow of things. Diamond in the Rough, Trials and Tribulations of Southern Belle was my very first book. I also wrote 2 other books, and I wrote a movie script while I was doing my time. So, you know, I'm truly grateful for this OG, you know, who helped me with my creativity. So, you know, I came out, you know, finished doing my time. I published my, I think I published my first book like a year after I was out, back in 2011. So I think it was October 2011 where I published my very first book, Diamond in the Rough, Trials and Tribulations of a Southern Belle. And it was a wonderful moment for me because even though I got backlash from family and friends, you know, they all turned their nose at it. They all shunned it at first, but, you know, I kept through with it. You know, I could have easily just stopped and I continued. But even though from 2011 to 2017, I had a 6-year gap till I published my second book, which is my children's series, Kwame and His Great Adventures, Kwame Meets Jackie Robinson. And with this book, my thing is our beautiful melanated babies. As you can see, they see what's going on now. You know, they see COVID-19 happening. They see how, you know, officers are actually taking the lives of these young, you know, young melanated kings and queens. So when they see things like that, I can only imagine what they're going through. And this is nothing new. This is something that's been going on in our community for the longest. But in the same token, what happens is that what a lot of us don't realize is that basically within the system, our children are being taught his story, not our story.
I'm gonna pause you right there. You make a valid point, because we kid around and say history is his story, but by the same token, like you said, people who control the curriculum, there's certain things that are being taught and there's certain things that aren't being taught. So I'm glad that you raised that point and raised that issue.
Oh, precisely. And my intent is with my book, with this children's series, is this young kid named Kwame, what he has a time watch to take him back into time. Every time he goes back into time, he meets a historical Black icon, you know, melanated icon. So, you know, I started with Jackie Robinson due to the fact that, you know, he was a star in the Negro League. He went to the Major League Baseball. I think this was in 1947. I actually attended Jackie Robinson Middle School. Not only that, I once upon a time, I used to live in Lefferts Projects, which is right across the street from Ebbsfield Projects.
Ebbsfield.
Yeah, this is where the great Jackie Robinson once played. They turned that field into a housing projects. So I felt that it was necessary to speak on an icon. I came from Brooklyn, and the stories I heard of Jackie Robinson, he was the idol of mine. You know, so I was like, you know, why not start with Jackie Robinson? But I have the second story in that series is coming out, and it's gonna be Mansa Musa. I already finished writing it. Now we just in the rough stage, just trying to get it out there. So the second one's gonna be Mansa Musa. And what happens is that a lot of our children don't know Mansa Musa, let alone the grown-ups. You can ask a lot of grown-ups. You ask, who's Mansa Musa? They couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? He was the richest man ever to step foot on this planet. Not King Solomon that you read on the Bible, you know. To all my Christians out there, I know in your mind, y'all probably think it was King Solomon. Nah, it was Mansa Musa. You know, it's not no Jeff Bezos with Amazon. So, you know, I mean, you know, you know, I'm just, you know, I feel like my job is through my writing, because I go by the phrase, I aspire to inspire others through the power of my words. And words are very important, because I realized, you know, coming to America as a Haitian kid, and being called all types of names, Haitian booty scratcher, Haitian body odor, you know, they used to say the phrase, sticks and stones could break my bones, but words can never hurt me. And I thought that was false, because I was like, how come these words hurt me? And this is people who look just like me. You know, these are melanated people who look just like me. So why does their word hurt me? So, you know, I always knew that words had an importance. And what was so funny, I actually learned the English language to a fault so I can get revenge on the people. That's how much I know how powerful language is. That's why I choose not to use certain words, like the word black. No, I don't want to associate us as black. We are not black. We're melanated. You know, we're not the color of our hair. This is black. And in the Constitution, when they talk about black, that means that's 1/10 of a human being. You know, I don't want to go into details about it. Y'all can look it up, but like, I don't want to use the term black because the government knows why they use it. Mind you, this is the Constitution they've written since the late 1700s, and it's still applicable to us till this day. So if back 200, 300, 400 years, you consider me as nothing, why would I use that same term 200, 300 years later and associate myself with? But I digress. Right. But, you know, back to...
But before you pivot, you make a valid point. Words do have meaning, and even when you think about the scripture, there's power in the tongue. There really is power in the tongue, and in a number of instances, what you internalize, really, it speaks volumes. And what's the most immediate things that people internalize? What they hear.
Words.
And so before you pivot, I want you to repeat your motto or your mantra when it comes to words. Repeat that for people one more time.
Okay, almost definitely. I aspire to inspire others through the power of my words, because I know how much my words, you know, first and foremost, people don't realize words are so powerful. When you speak on yourself, you don't speak on nobody more than you speak on yourself. So when you speak on yourself, why not speak positively of yourself? Why put a negative tone or a negative word when speaking on self? I don't think it's necessary. Anytime you speak on self, you should always speak highly of yourself, because ain't nobody going to do it but yourself. For someone to speak highly of you, you got to speak highly of yourself. And when someone can see that through the way you use your words, especially when speaking of self, I promise you, words is everything. That's why I try to teach my children, my family and friends. I try to tell them, yo, when you're using words, use it with intent. Use it with your spirit. Use it with your heart. You know what I mean? Because words is everything. Words is what lead this world. You know what I mean? When you think about the laws that they create, that's words.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the system we live in, that's words. The principles, the cultures, you got to put that by words. So anybody who's creative in a sense where they could take words and make you feel something from it, you know, that's why shout out to all the authors out there. It's, you know, just putting out a book alone is powerful to me, because I know the struggle, what it takes to put out a book.
Oh, goodness. I gotta pause you right there, bruh. You said something like, look at here. This is part of the reason why we are doing this author specific series, because it's like, folks don't understand, and even authors have to be reminded, your work is needed. Your work is powerful. You don't know the narratives that you're touching base on. I know you focus a lot youth-based. I'm kind of all over the place. but look at
it like this, King. Wherever you are all over the place, there's 1 to 10 people, at least, minimum, that you touch with your work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how many people's lives you touch or save with your work, because it was needed to them at that moment. Whenever they read your book, that's what was needed for them at that moment. If you had anybody who came back to you and appreciate you for the words you put on that page, I promise you, you did your job. You did your job.
Agreed. I tell people everybody has a story to tell, and no one can tell that story better than you. And another thing that kind of ties in, especially when it comes to especially with young people, we know public speaking is a challenge for everybody, but I told kids then, and I tell people now, you have to look at it. The most important words someone is going to hear that day is going to come out of your mouth. So having said all that, you go ahead and say something, for lack of a better term.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. I remember this was just a few months back. This was late last year, December. I got the chance to speak at Morehouse College, which was an honor for me. And shout out to Dr. Haru. He allowed me to speak to these young kings in his classroom. And I was basically speaking on the Haitian Revolution, and I was bringing light, because a lot of people don't know about the Haitian Revolution. Mm-hmm. So I was breaking that down to these young kings. And then I veered off, and I was basically telling these young kings, I was breaking down my story to them, and I was telling them, you know what, use my story to catapult you to greatness. I tell you my wrongs because you need to know this. I'm bearing my soul to you. You need to know what I've been through so you don't go through the same situations I went through. Mm-hmm. I see as a melanated community, the way I know I can reach out to my people is through my words. So even if I intend to do public speaking, or I want to be an author, or whatever it may be, I still have to use my words. My words are intentional, because the only way I can reach to a melanated person is through my words, and it's the way I use my words. So if I'm using my words with the intent to empower you, so be it. So be it. That's my job. I feel like, why not speak highly of my people? You know what I mean? That's why I greet people, my melanated brothers and sisters, kings and queens. I'm putting that into your mind frame. I'm letting you know that you're a king and you're a queen. You may not see it in yourself, but when you hear someone telling you that, you say, yo, why he call me a king? Why did he call me a queen? You know what I mean? So when they start to realize why, it takes time. And I feel like we can start with our words, man. I promise you, if we can start speaking better to one another as a melanated group, I promise you, you'll see how we unite without having to be forced to unite.
I tell you what, and in listening to that, you know what? I always come back to that adage, you're planting seeds, like you really are. When you are greeting people, and I think about the greeting that you have, I think about the traditional Islamic greeting, wa assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam, peace unto you and peace back. Those types of things, you're seed planting. And again, like you said before, you're emphasizing the power that words have, spoken, written, read. It's powerful. And you take all that in, and it comes back to what we're both saying. We have to continue empowering, equipping, sharing these narratives. And even with the names that you've mentioned, there's a body of history out there that our people do not know, plain and simple. So, and you think about the seed planting that you're doing on the youth level, the seed planting that other people are doing, helping people to, pivot, to be like, hey, like you're saying, just pause and think. There might be a different way to go about things. So it's really, really, truly powerful. But bringing it back in, because I know how we get. We'll go. Bring it back in. The work that you've done, again, remind people of the books that you've previously done, as well as what is on the horizon.
Okay, as I've said already, I have The Diamond in the Rough, Trials and Tribulations of a Southern Man. That's my very first book. I also have Kwame and His Great Adventures. That's a series. I have the first story, which is Kwame meets Jackie Robinson. I have the second one. I intend to come out. If it doesn't come out by the end of this year, it will definitely come out early next year. But this will be the second story in the series, and Kwame meets Mansa Musa. I also have a volume book, which is called A Thin Line Between Friendship and Relationships, Volume 1. With the first volume, I had co-wrote it with a wonderful woman by the name of Jeannie Saeed. And I'm working on the second volume as we speak. So I intend to come out, but it might be another co-author, because with this book, it's basically a book. This is a series that I had with the intention to write it with a woman, because I wanted not only my perspective as a man, but a woman's perspective. And it's just a way to create dialogue, you know what I mean, between couples, you know, whatever it may be, whatever the dynamic may be. Also, I'm currently working on this book. It's gonna be a very short book, but this book is going. The title is Acronyms: The Power of Acronyms. And what I'm doing with this book is, as of late, if anybody who follow me on IG, what you will see is that what I do is I'll take negative words and turn the negative connotation into a positive one. So what I do is that I break down a negative word and turn it into an acronym. And then within that acronym, I create a wonderful sentence or a wonderful, powerful phrase.
I've got to pause right there. I've seen it, and I'm like, this brother right here is again, you're flipping the script.
Yeah, you got to, you know. You got to, you know. My thing is, I want to bring variety within words to the community, because a lot of people, they don't understand the power of words in so many ways. And you know, as a melanated brother from the Caribbean island, I never knew how words were powerful till I came here, and I had words used against me, and I realized a lot of people in my past, how I've hurt them by the words I used against them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, as I've gotten older and I'm getting wiser, you know, I don't want to use the term older. We're not getting older. We're getting wiser.
Wiser, okay.
We're getting wiser. You know what I mean? Because when we say older, it started being applicable to your anatomy. And next thing you know, you feel some muscles or something.
And look, but like you said, what we're saying, words are powerful. So when you say
Powerful.
wiser, you're speaking life. I mean,
I'm speaking.
I just say I'm getting wiser. I hope.
I'm gonna tell you this, King. Words are spells. Words are spells. You see spelling.
Mm-hmm.
Words are spells.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever spell you put on yourself, that's what you ask for. So if I say, "Oh, I'm not gonna be great," then I'm not gonna be great. Nah, Negro, I am great. I was born great. I am great now, and I will continue to be great. That's why I pronounce for everybody. Like, my words are manifestation for my people. You know what I mean? What I like to tell everybody is I wish them infinite life, infinite wealth, infinite prosperity, infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge, infinite greatness. And the reason why I use infinite is that your life is infinite. I feel that there's a phrase I came up with earlier this week, and I said, if it's not eternal, it's not real. Your spirit, your soul is eternal. Because yes, once the flesh is gone, your spirit and soul remains. So if it's not eternal, it's not real. Don't be stealing my phrases, people. I know y'all may like it, but don't steal my phrases, you know.
Oh no, I cite my stuff. I ain't trying to get in trouble with nobody. Look, I still have things to do, and fighting off, you know, lifting somebody's words.
No. But you see, you know, but you see, I don't care about that. I want people to use my words. The reason why, because if you feel you're uplifted by it, use it.
Yeah.
You use it. Like, oh, we always trying to copyright these words, copyright this and that. No, have it. You know what I mean? It's for us all. You know what I mean? Words are meant to be used the way you want to use them. You know what I mean? For author, us writing, that's our canvas. And when we jotting down the story, whatever it is, whatever we put on that piece of paper, we just trying to tell you, this is our thought process. We just want to share this with you. We manifest something, hoping that it manifests something that stirs you up, whatever the story may be, whatever the concept may be. We just want to stir you up, rev up your soul. You know what I mean? Like my words, I want my words to unite us all. Mm-hmm. You see the flag, you see, yeah, I believe in unification of my people. I want to unify with each and every one. Y'all not my enemies. Anybody who's melanated, you are not my enemy. Okay? Let this be known. You are not my enemy. You wasn't then, you wasn't now, and you won't be later. So you're not my enemy. Once we can have that mindset, I promise you, we'll unify. I promise you, once our people unify through the power of words and we can unite, everybody else would treat us much differently. Everybody else would treat us much differently. But it starts with us. And I feel like it starts with us.
And you said a lot right there. And I think, like you said, it's all about equipping, educating, empowering, being accessible, being authentic. I know I say a lot, authentic and accessible, and you made some very good points during this talk. Let me ask you this, and you did talk about, the current works, the future work. Let me ask you, and this is something, in continuing the seed plant.
Okay.
To anyone out there who is aspiring to write, whether it's on where we are or where we're trying to go, what words of wisdom or insight or encouragement do you want to give those folks who are thinking about making that pivot to where, we're trying to go? What would you say?
Well, first and foremost, I would tell them, don't write to write. Write because you feel it's embedded in you, that it's your duty to whatever you want to put out. Feel like, you know what I mean? Because anybody could write, but did you use your heart? You know what I mean? In this process, did your spirit say this is the way to go? So, and I always tell people, don't have high expectations in regards to getting notoriety because of the book. Don't even watch that. What I need you to watch is the people you touch with your book. The people who come back to you and tell you, what, I truly appreciate you. Listen, there's, with the genres, they like to say, oh, you got the ratchet books, this and that. Do not get it twisted. Those ratchet books get a lot of brothers and sisters in the penal system through their time. Because these ratchet, you know what I mean? Like, I don't judge no book. I don't judge no book. Just the mere fact you had the fortitude to write that, man, kudos to you. It could be a one sentence book, just one sentence in the book, and you published it. Yo, kudos to you. That one sentence, it took you a lot just to get that one.
But you know what? And this comes back to, this is a question I had regarding like my first book with poetry. And here's my thing. It's like, you can make a powerful statement. It can be this long extended piece. It could be a one-word sentence.
I'll say.
I'll say this. When I did my first one, poetry, to me, you think about how important music is, and when you listen to the lyrics,
man,
to me, one of the easiest and most accessible forms of writing is going to be poetry. And it doesn't matter how flowery the language is or how the message gets through extremely clear. And it comes back to what we've been saying throughout. All these types of styles. Look, if everyone wrote the same way, you'd only reach so many people. You have to have multiple styles and multiple people and multiple perspectives, because we're trying to cast as wide a net as possible. And
I agree.
And it comes back to a lot of the points that you're saying. There's people that you are going to be able to reach that I might not reach. There's people that I'm going to be able to reach that you might not reach. But if we're both out there, our coverage area expands. And that comes back to, why we have these twice a month chats, and why, we share our platforms, and why it's like so important. Tell that story. And as you said before, there's so much power in words and what we say and what we speak and what we write and what we take in. So there's a space. there's a space.
Man, there's a huge space. There's a huge space. I tell people, come one, come all. If you feel it's in your heart, come. Write your story. Write whatever it is. There's somebody out there who's gonna appreciate you for even, deciding to put pen to paper. So it's like, it's vast. Like, everybody's a writer. Everybody has a story to tell. but you got to feel it in your heart if you feel that's the route you want to take. You know, some people, they just want to come out with one book, and that's enough. Just a mere fact, you could go through the whole procedure to get it out there. That is enough. You know, I've met many authors. They told me it was a one and done deal. And I appreciate them because each of them had a different story in regards to what that book meant to them. Some of them, that book was a release. Because something was holding them down for so long in their life. And they wrote that book, and that book just set them free. And that's all they needed was their freedom. And that book is their freedom. So it's like, you know, to all the inspire authors, writers, poets, whoever uses words, even songwriters, whoever uses words, or public speakers, whoever uses words, and however you decide, whatever contents you like to use your words, please be mindful who you are inspiring. And also be mindful how you are inspiring the people. Let's be mindful to inspire each other, to unite, you know, to love one another. Let's try not to tell the stories that divide us, because I think we have enough division between us as it is already. You know what I mean? The news, you know, your boy, the orange man, you know what I mean?
That ain't my boy.
You know,
Don't put them roots on me.
Man, your guy is funny, man. That was China, but you know, I digress. But you know, I just want people to be intent with their words, you know what I mean, and bring more positivity. I promise you, once we could unite, because it's going to start with words. That's the only way we can unite. First and foremost, we have to speak to one another. We're not really speaking to one another. We're not letting our souls speak to one another. I think we need to be harmonious.
I'll say this. Just like we're doing now, we're sharing and exchanging, we're talking with and listening to. I tell you what, sir, this has been a lot of fun. I always like just sitting back and listening to what you share. You make so many, important points, so many things that are so constructive for anybody to take away. So as we get ready to wind down, please remind everybody your book titles, where they can get your books, and how they may stay connected and engaged with you. Then I'll close out with doing the same, and then we are back at it. So go ahead, sir.
Sounds like a plan. To each and everybody, peace, love, and light to all you kings and queens out there. As you already know, I'm Moise Michel. I told you the title of my book, Diamond in the Rough, Trials and Tribulations of a Southern Belle. You have Kwame and His Great Adventures. Kwame meets Jackie Robinson, which is the very first book. And you also have A Thin Line Between Friendships and Relationships, Volume 1, which I co-wrote with Jeannie Said. And currently, you can find these books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you know, the usual suspects. Also, you can go on WeBuyBlack.com, which is a wonderful website where you can get all your products, and they're all from melanated owners, people who look just like us. Please go support them. You can buy my books there. There's also another website by Akebeline.com. That's my brother Raymond Dawson. Shout out to that king right there. If you're in Atlanta, you can go to the bookstores. You can go to the bookstore in I think that's South something. It's a black-owned bookstore. I'm in
Nubian?
3 or 4.
Nubian bookstore?
I'm in the one in Greenbrier. I forgot the name of it. I'm in
Madu in Greenbrier. Yeah, Madu. Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm in Madu. I'm in the one the Shrine of the Black Madonna on the West End. I also have books at this brother. I keep forgetting the brother's name. I think it's Nubian Bookstore in
Nubian and Morrow. Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah, Williams. Morrow. Yes, that king
Marcus,
right there.
Yeah, shout out to Marcus Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to that king right there. I have my books there as well, and there's another black-owned, melanated-owned bookstore. I can't quite remember it for the time being, but you can find my books there, or you can also check out my email if you want to send me whatever. You can reach to me mmj2, the number 2 us at yahoo.com, or you can check me on Instagram. I'm either Moise J. Michel, spelled out together, or you can check me on my primary page, which is God with Many Visions. It's _God _with _many _visions. So I love you people. I use my words, like I said, I aspire to inspire others through the power of my words, and I hope you learned something today. I hope you appreciated this conversation, and I just want you guys to know I love you guys because y'all all I got in this
Hey,
world. Really and truly, y'all all I really have. You know?
that is awesome. That is powerful. Keep walking in strength, power, and light. And real quick, I'll recap both of my books, Deeper Than Your Deepest Sleep, Thoughts on Love with Joseph Snorton, as well as 9 Stories of Faith, Volume 1. They're available on Amazon, and they're available at the following bookstores: Pan-African Connections in Dallas, Texas; Detroit Book City in Detroit/Southfield, Michigan; Read More Book and Card in Madisonville, Kentucky; Lemuria Books in Jackson, Mississippi. I gotta remember because I know I'm going to get it. Tubman Museum in Macon, Georgia. Nubian Bookstore in Morrow, Georgia. Madu Bookstore at Greenbrier Mall. Black Dot Cultural Arts Center in Lithonia, Georgia. Book Nook in Decatur. Fiction Addiction in Greenville, South Carolina. Hub City Bookstore in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Park Road Books in Charlotte, North Carolina. Book Addictions, which is online, Roanoke, Virginia. And then, of course, Wake Forest University's main campus bookstore in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And you can connect with me at author Ace Norton on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the Facebook page that you're watching from right now, author Andrew Snorton, and email me at authoracenorton@gmail.com. And again, shouts to our folks who weren't able to join us today: Fayatai Resitai, who's on assignment, as well as Chef Diana Riley. We'll probably have them on for our next show, which will be 2 weeks from today, June 28th at 3 p.m. As a reminder, any authors that are out there, I know I got to give a shout to Juva Threat Alexander, so I know we follow each other. Hey, shameless plug, if you are an author or you know someone who's an author and wants to be part of this roundtable that we do, please get in contact with me. We want to plug you on. This is, as I say, is really author specific. Even though, I've got the television show and that type of thing, this is something we really want a space for our authors and creatives to be able to do. Don't get me wrong, I'll get you on the show too, but this is really more, no, but I'm just saying, this is really that y'all know what I'm trying to say. Hopefully.
Yo, King, I need that plug on them bookstores so I can get my books in there too.
Hey, let's talk. I mean, I'm real talk. Let's talk and make it happen. Like, seriously, that's it. Look, that's any author out there. I'll say this: you don't know it all, and there's always things that you can learn. But when you
Facts.
you know that there are folks out there who have a story to tell, and you know that, just like Moise, you said, there's somebody that we've been able to reach, known and unknown, with our work. And who are we to get in the way of, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, real talk, who are we to get in the way of helping another person reach people known and unknown? And I'll just leave it at that. So y'all hit me up. Plain and simple. I put it out there. Y'all hit me up. And let's go ahead and make it happen. Until next time.
Yo, King, I gotta say thank you so much for getting me on the show. I appreciate you for giving me this coverage. I truly appreciate that.
It's cool. It's part of what I do. We got it's part of what I do. But real talk, as we go ahead and call it, continued well wishes and blessings to our guest author. Continued well wishes and blessings to all of you out there. We're just gonna say this: remain encouraged. And whether it's slow or swift, movement is movement, and progress is progress.
Listen, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. We ain't going nowhere.
Exactly. All of you, seriously, take very good care. Until next time, we will see you soon. Take good care.
Peace, King.
You just finished watching All About the Authors featuring Moise Michel. Chef Diana Riley will join us on our June 28th, 2020 edition. Make sure to add All About the Authors 520 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. See you soon.